But in the 7 months that you've been this flyboy, what is the greatest thing you've learned about yourself?
That I'm exactly who I thought I was.
Ooh, and who the fuck is you?
It's I think I have to sacrifice certain things to live my lifestyle, to travel, to open myself to certain potentials of pleasure, to be in different spaces. And I mean lifestyle in terms of as like a queer person, as someone who travels for a living. I have to sacrifice, and it's all about balance, and I have to be okay with it. Part of being lonely is being okay with what you're not experiencing. Life happens when you're not there, and that's a hard lesson to learn. But part of the falling in love, there's been moments where I was like in a dark room and it's just hands and mouths, and I was like, this is a part of the essence. Like the way that like the sunset can like fall and the rose can bloom, like I also feel that in those moments. I'm so intrigued by my own darkness. It's been my most intimate project to be in the dance with loneliness. And this time around New York, I realized that I abandoned myself at some point, my present physical self. And I kind of lost control of the way I like perceive and pleasure, and that's really dramatic. I didn't actually lose control, but
The name's John Mack, pro fighter, published author, public speaker. And for the last few years, I've been living life in a van. Meet Appa, my Japanese-inspired tea house on wheels. Welcome in. Coffee, tea, whiskey. That's how it begins. My podcast. The one where we sit and talk about life. Thoughts, stories, human things. You know human things. The things that make us human. If that's your cup of tea, then welcome in. Drinks on me. Come on in.
thank you.
Welcome back to Appa.
Hi everyone.
All right. Any water to start?
Yes, always.
Always. Okay.
Gotta stay hydrated.
And then also I have tea, coffee, or whiskey as a secondary choice for Bevy.
John,
How you feeling?
I want coffee.
You want coffee?
Is that okay?
Of course it's okay.
And can I get a splash of whiskey in it?
Oh, sure. So let's go ahead and pour this up.
It's amazing how a space changes, right? Because if I can say I saw this like a few minutes ago,
Yeah, no, of course you could say that. You can say whatever you want.
and now I'm like back in here, but like you moved things around, you cleaned up, and I love that the idea of like mess as a sign of human life.
Yeah, it is. It's just this is how things are.
The organics of clutter.
Which I've learned to be. I feel like I was pretty good before in terms of like not having a lot of clutter, but like living in a van. Oh, bro, you can't have anything anywhere.
Clutter's so personal because you get to see how people organize systems.
Right. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So the blend that I have is a medium blend. It's Phil's Coffee. Have you had Phil's Coffee?
I have no.
It's from San Francisco. I think they have one here in La Jolla.
Oh wait, I think so. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Am I going to have coffee too? Or if you're going to have a little bit of whiskey, I might just go straight to the whiskey.
Okay, well then if you're gonna go straight to the whiskey, I'm not gonna have just a little bit of
Oh, no. I'll just do a
It's
coffee
gonna be
with you.
no, I'm gonna say it's half coffee and half whiskey for me then. Forget the splash. If you're gonna go full blown whiskey, I'm going full blown espresso and whiskey.
You're going for it.
Is that okay?
Damn, I might even try that myself. What am I going to do here? See, guys, this is in the moment, just figuring it out as we go.
Well, I've drank coffee since I was like, my mom used to put it in my bottle.
Your mom used to put coffee in your bottle?
So we would stay awake during like appropriate times so then she can control when we would go to sleep. And so I've had coffee my whole life.
Okay.
So coffee is my first love.
Coffee is your first love. Okay, so, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that much coffee because then you won't have space for your whiskey.
And the smell of that.
The smell of coffee is so good, right? All right. This will be the first one where I don't match my guest. Basically what I've been doing so far, because this is episode 4, right? So figuring it out as I go. What I've been doing is like whatever the guest orders, I just match them. You want coffee? I'll have coffee.
You're not going to match my freak.
Ooh, Zam. Well, you're a greedy ass over here. Wants both. I'll take both. I'll take that and that.
Actually, can you give me the tea as well? I'm just kidding. No.
But no, it's a practice in like differences. Now, I wouldn't go as far as like if you just ordered coffee and you were only gonna have coffee with no whiskey, then I'm not gonna have whiskey either. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm not trying to be off fucking off the hook. Yeah, I'm just like wasted that. Welcome to the podcast. And, like, you're just sipping on tea, and I'm just like I'm about to make a second drink. What's up? You ready?
I'm like I need the caffeine and the buzz.
Yeah, it's great. It's like an espresso martini, but not. Okay, what am I doing here? I don't even know what I'm doing. But that's okay, because this is life. We don't know what we're doing. We'll just figure it out as we go.
I also, can I say, I love this as like the ritual, right? Like there's so much in making something like a coffee or a whiskey or a tea that's routine, that's ritual, that's so personable. That's
for sure.
Like self, and to like share it with someone, to be like, also to be given someone making my coffee for me, that is a gift, John. That is, I'm like could cry.
Oh, I'm glad.
The last time someone made me coffee, I had to pay for it.
Oh, I forgot who said this. I mean, it might even be a quotable thing, but someone's like, you know what the best coffee is? The coffee you don't make. However, I actually enjoy making my coffee. Like you talk about ritual, like I like making my coffee in the morning. I like making my coffee in the morning, and it's like I have to go through all the steps, and I do pour over, so it takes me more time, and maybe I'm stretching and kind of like getting back in touch with my body as I wake up before I go on my walk. So I do enjoy coffee. I mean, I do enjoy making it, but yeah.
I hate getting my beans crushed already or blended or whatever you call it. Like I have that same one, and I love like the process of like crushing it, choosing how much. Like it's all
You get to do the honors. First one. You do it yourself. You love it so much. There you go.
So you have to do like a long and stop, a little tap, a little shake, and then one just for good measure.
That's all you want? You don't want to ground more? Tell me what you think. You don't want you
do it finer? Okay, we can do it finer.
I mean, it's your coffee.
We'll do
it's
it
your
finer.
coffee. I just feel like you get more. You get more.
Let's just hold on to that. This is familiar.
All right, I feel like that's good. What you think?
Oh my God, the smell.
It smells so good, right? Yeah. Take a whiff of that. Caramel, hazelnut, maple.
Hazelnut, yes. I was gonna say chocolate.
Oh, you know what? I shouldn't have told you. This motherfucker right here is one of the best bartenders I know. They're gonna say that they're not. Or maybe the showman comes out and you're like, that's right, bitch, I fucking am.
I am just an extension of my teachers.
What a humble response.
I am just...
What a humble response.
As good as the way someone inspires me, motivates me to continue learning.
I love that political answer that you just gave. I mean, I really do like that answer. But no, I used to love, like, when you were bartending, how I know Soul is through bartending. We both, I can almost say I used to bartend at Park, because I'm about to be done, son, in a couple days. But yeah, one of the things that I always loved is, like, how you would approach somebody, and it was, like, when I was first starting to bartend, and I mean, I'm not even there yet, but you would just be like, what are you feeling? Like, when I would watch you Dealer's Choice people, and you'd be like, do you want this flavor or that, or how you feeling about this, and you would just go off on all these, like, flavor palettes and all these things. I was just like, I would be in awe, like, whoa, I hope one day to like be like that. Not that I'm gonna, and who knows, maybe I won't even ever get to that point because maybe I don't continue pursuing bartending. But I thought that was always something that's really cool about how you would show up to work. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm the best because I know so many talented bartenders, especially in the city. In San Diego, you have such an array of really skilled people. But I will say that I loved it. I loved being creative in that way by hosting. And questions of like, how are you even feeling today? Like, what are you willing to try and risk in your drink? And also, there's something about a bar that is so associated with nightlife that as a queer person, I'm like, that's where I belong.
It's a good place for you. But now you're even in a better place because you just fucking flying around the world. This bitch.
Now I'm not even in the realms of linear time.
No, different time zones, flying here.
Don't know what day it is. Barely know that I'm in San Diego.
Honestly, when I pop into your stories sometimes, and like, it's very transparent that you're like, I don't even know what time zone it is, or like, oh, I'm in Amsterdam for 24 hours. Who's got some Rex? I'm like, this bitch right here. Oh, now I'm in Denmark. Oh, no, actually, no, it's Denver. Now I'm in Denver. What should I do here in Denver? I'm like, this motherfucker.
You're like, I get to be home in New York for 4 hours. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I am a flight attendant now.
So let's talk about that. It hasn't even been a year, right? Because it was earlier this year?
No, it's been...
How long has it been?
I'm entering 7 months in being on the line and actually flying, and 2 months of training, and so altogether about 9 months. It hasn't even been a year.
It hasn't even been a year.
The thought, I walked down, so the hotel I'm staying at is nearby the Museum of Contemporary Art of San Diego. Mm-hmm. And in February, I got to work with one of my favorite humans in a physical theater immersive piece on like coming of age as a queer Mexican artist, and it was really personable to me. But that was in February, and then it feels like it's been like 4 or 5 years since I was in that world, and it's only been 8 months ago. Yeah, I was thinking of everything that's happened in the matter of just this year.
That's wild. How many... Okay.
I was just covered in feathers rolling around, feathers and honey rolling around the shell, like on some lawn for people's entertainment, and now I'm like flying on a daily basis.
That's fucking wild.
It's a matter of months.
How many different... You've obviously been to a whole bunch of different fucking states and whatnot, right? But you've also... Oh, sorry. We'll cut that out.
Sorry, I should probably say this. They're really strict with certain... yeah. That's why you don't see anything about it on my... Like, I can't say where I stay. And I can't say... I just try to avoid it at all. I'm sure it won't matter, but I just try to avoid it.
That's cool. We'll bleep that out.
Like, I don't even put my uniform. Like, it's... Yeah.
Cool. That's fine. This will be my first opportunity to practice bleeping something out.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
That's okay. Cool. This coffee's almost done. Do you want black or white for your mug?
Black.
Black. And I guess I'll start with your... I left my jigger at work.
You can measure with your heart.
Ooh, we're gonna measure with my heart. Okay. How much whiskey would you like? I guess you could just tell me when then.
You measure with your heart.
Girl, I'm about to fill this whole thing up.
You're like, splash of coffee. Okay, go. Go, and done.
Okay. I'll match you on that. That felt about right?
Yes. As I'm seeing it now, like as I have a visual, I'm like, oh, that was more than I wanted. Not more than I wanted. Scratch all that. Give it to me.
No, now you want more. That was more than I wanted. Actually, fill that bitch up.
No, it's good.
Okay. Oh, that doesn't even go there.
But I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with that too, John, of having like the being flexible with like job.
Alrighty.
Being able to like switch or be different personas or be around different social groups, being around different like one day you're fighting
Right.
in a giant space, being seen, training, preparing for that, and the next you're bartending, or the next you're teaching, or being a mentor, or like it's editing videos. Like it's a certain skill. What do you think? What skill allows you to flow through so many careers?
That's a fucking really good question. I think the skill, maybe it's not a skill. I think it's more of a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more of a mindset. I think on the surface, the first thing is I know myself. That's, I think, one ingredient. I think another ingredient is in knowing myself, I also don't label myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't, I mean, we can have a whole podcast just about labeling. But if I were to put myself in a box of like, I'm just a fighter, or I'm just John the writer, and I just only wear that hat, then I limit what I'm able to do. But because I know myself and I know that I'm more than one thing, I think it allows me to walk into the different spaces and know how to, quote unquote, read the room. Mm-hmm. And how to be and how to show up. And it's not about being fake. You're being authentic. You're being authentic because you know yourself, but you also know what space you're in. You know, like the way that I talk with you is different than how I would talk to my striking coach. Is different than how I would talk to somebody else and whatever. Maybe an older person. Like maybe I talk to them a little bit differently. It's all still me though. Mm-hmm. It's all still very much me, right? How you talk to your abui is not how you're going to talk to. Right?
Girl, and there was some guilt for that for a long time too, because I thought that I like was being inauthentic. But to like liberate yourself from that aspect of like, oh no, all of this is authentic. Like the way I talk to my mom is very different to how I talk to friends, and it's just different pieces of me, different social currencies, and different respects. Because I think respect also doesn't look the same for every person.
Right.
And I think with H2 I stopped trying to have to need to prove myself.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, so to answer your question, I think it's a mentality of how I'm able to toggle between the spaces of one, knowing myself, not putting a label on myself, you know, kind of reading the room. And then it's like a reminder of like literally like, I mean, Bruce Lee is one of my biggest influences, but he talks about like, be water, you know, like you put water into a cup, it becomes a cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle.
We are mainly water.
We are mainly water, you know, and, you know, now we can talk about movement and fluidity and all that stuff, and we could go into a whole other direction, but I feel like just being adaptable, yeah, all those things.
Yeah, I find that there's very similarly that there's like almost an indifference. Like no, actually no, that's not true, because I feel like indifference means like there's a lack of caring. There's almost a disattachment to like what I'm doing now is my value and who I am and defines who I am. It's actually like, oh, it's like a Barbie, where it's like Barbie will always be Barbie. The clothes you put on her change. So therefore her role. Like I'm not like this job or opportunity or this uniform or this confined by this space. It's like I'm just flowing through it. It's like my physical vessel is just being decorated.
Ooh.
I think there's also something about language too, like even when me saying like, oh, we are made of water, and you immediately going into flow and all that stuff. It's semiotics and symbiotics.
Yeah. Dropping gems already. We haven't even had our first sip, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't help it. I can't help it, John.
I know. I hope it's let that bitch out. All right. So speaking of that, we're gonna go ahead and cheers and transition to the table here and continue this conversation. If you are joining us, feel free to. No, that's all good. We just do whatever we do.
It's annoying. Let me take off my rings. This is going to happen a lot.
Join us for a drink. Can I have a sip of your coffee whiskey?
Go for it. I literally make out with random guys taking a sip. Like when people
Cool.
have.
So now I guess I didn't make out with random guys yet because I took a sip before.
People literally like, can I have a sip of your straw? I'm like, the things I have done. Like, you, please. I should warn you. I'm like, are you sure you want to take a sip of this?
Yeah. No, I am sure. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here, and we'll see you at the table.
I didn't know if it's working.
You'll see it right here.
Okay.
I'm going to record on yours. I forgot to do that the first time. As you can see, I'm just fucking making shit up as I go.
Part of the ritual. Part of the learning process.
Yeah.
Which, to create a ritual, you have to have the trials and tests of mistake.
For sure.
Which builds habits, which builds memory. Like it just has to. It's part of the process of creating the ritual.
Definitely. Okay. Cheers,
mate. This is where we're like.
All right. Welcome to episode 4 of Tea House Talk. That is a working title, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we are just figuring things out as we go, but this is the essence of life. You just have to start somewhere. I am here with my good friend Sol, who happens to just be in town for a quick
24 hours.
24 hours. If you were following the conversation previous, we were talking about their life as a
flyboy.
Is that what you call yourself?
A flyboy.
A flyboy. So yeah, let's jump back in it. You said this has you were in some crazy. It was a rough month.
Yeah,
it was a rough month.
I think it was. The last week was the first time I think I was in a rough place for the month. Longer than that, but month has highlighted it. And last week was the time where I realized that I was having the first struggle with New York, which 7 months in is great. I think that's fantastic. That took me 7 months for me to be like, all right, New York, like, how are we negotiating this relationship?
Okay, first of all, how long are you even in New York for if you're always in the air?
I'm in New York for maybe like 7 days out of the 7 full days out of the month, and I go there for hours in between to rest or repack or sleep.
Okay.
So longer than that, but 7 full days of days off.
But some are just like, I'm passing through, I'm emptying this, I'm putting this back in my suitcase, I'm heading right back out to just...
I'm getting 8 hours of sleep, and then I'm going back to the airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so 7 months, you're just now adjusting, you're figuring out your relationship with New York. But to go back, you're saying like you had a rough month, and now like you're here, it's the holidays, like, where are you at?
God, where am I at? Here. It's so part of the difficulty that I was having is the immersion into so many spaces. I feel like I'm a person that likes to feel a lot, and you arrive somewhere and you meet someone you care about. I have friends all over the world. It's been a huge privilege to travel so much and to bond with so many people around the world. So you arrive somewhere, you meet someone who you care so much about, you regain these memories back from the experience you had with them, you make new ones, and then you fantasize about future ones, and you see yourself someone, you fall in love with the idea of like, what if I just moved here? What if my friends make fun of me? Because every week I'm like, I'm just moving to this city. And then I leave, and then there's this grief of leaving the version of myself that I fell in love with when I imagined that. And
damn, that's deep on so many levels.
It's been my most intimate project to be in the dance with loneliness. And this time around New York, I realized that I abandoned myself at some point, my present physical self. And I kind of lost control of the way I like perceive and pleasure, and that's really dramatic. I didn't actually lose control, but I realized that maybe something was blocked. So then you return, you go to the path of least resistance, by some miracle, a trip was canceled like the day of, and it allowed me to go to LA, and I saw one of my bestest, closest friends, a soulmate. And in that, I met another one who this is also so dramatic, but it's someone who like...
I love it. We love the we love the drama. We love the drama. Give us the drama.
I fall in love way too easily. No, I met someone who their presence moved me, and I felt suddenly like I wasn't blocked. But yeah, the rough week maybe was supposed to happen so I can have the opportunity to be moved. New York.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, New York is New Yorking.
That's so funny because on the first podcast, my homie was like, "Life be lifing," you know, and it makes total sense. And so when you say New York be New York, and like it makes sense.
Like it lives up to the hype.
That's awesome. Okay, so how many times have you fallen in love since being a flyboy?
God. See, this is the thing.
Okay, and we're talking like fake fantasy love, like not for reals. Like I feel like I found my soulmate, but you know.
Yeah, and I'm even also serious about that when I say it. Like I genuinely do think, when I say it, I mean it. One of my goals in my life since I was maybe even like 23, 21, so maybe for a decade now, has been to try to fall in love every day with everything. Like I remember as a child and not having the language for it or the desire for it. I remember I would like stick my hand out the window and the way the wind would blow my like on my skin and my hand, and I would just be enamored by that moment. And it was very isolating to want that. And now that I'm older and I've met people who are similar or people who support me, I'm very conscious now of trying to do that every day, and not necessarily with just like people, but also places. The way I fall in love with like space and place, and a moment, and a feeling, and someone can walk by and they're like the most beautiful person I've ever seen, and I marvel over every single person's beauty, even if I'm not like attracted to them. Like I just find that we're so differently crafted. So to answer your question, is every day. I stopped counting.
I love that.
Now, in the way that I think you're asking me,
right?
With like,
but okay, sure, answer that. But then I do want to come back to how you fall in love with things, even if it's not people on a regular basis, because I do want to highlight now that I have that awareness. But to answer what you think I'm asking you about people.
Yeah, about like, you know, the heartstrings, the way that you're moved, and the way that I like have to almost stop myself because I want to consume someone and like destroy myself and tear myself apart so they can like put me together. It's my crazy Latina is like really dramatic. I always tell my mom, I was like, I wasn't born like this, I was made like this. Like listening to my mom's songs growing up.
Is that me? Let's answer that later.
It doesn't happen regularly that I am completely moved. So I want to say, since I started flying, honestly, what I just experienced is very unique. And it's happened only a handful of times in my life.
Do you want to...
Once.
Okay, once. Do you want...
Once in the last 7 months.
Do you want to share that experience or no? We don't have to go there.
I just met someone who... You know when you see someone and their presence is just significant and different. They don't have to do anything. I think now I'm at a maturity where I don't have to ask for anything. I don't need them to prove anything to me. I don't need to prove that what I'm experiencing is real. I also don't need to project it and create something out of it. I don't need to manifest it. I don't need to react to it. I just sit in it and I allow myself to be aware of my capacity to feel. And that is what's important for me. So I just met someone who I thought was the most beautiful person in the room, and their presence moved something in me that was significant for me to be inspired to live, to keep living, to be alive, to be conscious of the way that I'm living, to to like add color and spice and flavor and honey. They added honey to my life just because they came into it. And it's so simple that for someone to just do that. Someone just walks into your life and they add honey to it.
I love that.
Going back to like this attachment, like and I just don't want to ruin that, so I don't ask anything of them because they already gave me so much.
I know, it was just a quick passing, like boom, pass cross, then go,
and go,
just like gone.
And go.
Man, the temporariness, temporariness of it all,
and it's so tangible, like the immediacy of it. It's one of my favorite lines from one of my favorite authors, Alexander Chi. He's writing like a list of how a novel can be like symbolic for something. And he's like talking about how he's struggling and maybe in the process of writing a novel. And in one of them he says like the novel is like the lover who you want to tell everything all at once. And that has just stuck with me because I'm like, that's it. That's who I am. I am the lover who wants to say everything all at once. I want to reveal myself. And with age, there's a restraint now.
Yeah.
That is also just as satisfying because you feel the pressure building. And then there's direction with that.
Okay, I'm gonna say two things because actually there's so many directions I can go in this. One, I actually want to acknowledge your maturity in this because hearing you talk about this person, or even this experience of falling in love, it's not the first time I've heard you talk about falling in love, right? Like, well, okay, while I've known you, from the time that I've known you from being at Park or here in San Diego or whatnot, and so I know that that is of your personality to fall in love and to literally just like full send. But the maturity in which you approach this, and I think maybe even, you know, being this flyboy for the last 7 months has matured you in that the travel, and you talk about dancing with loneliness and kind of these things that allow you to show up differently, knowing that you don't need them to prove anything or you don't need to prove anything. Because I'm sure from past conversations that has been a thing in the past of needing to prove yourself for who am I, what my identity is, or this and that. So now to be in a place where you're like, no, I don't need to do that. And even if that, you kind of mentioned this earlier, like when we weren't on the podcast, of like, even if it was just that moment, whether that person was going to be a potential partner, whether that person was going to be a friend, soulmate, whether it was literally just this, like one day that you guys were passing through, it's like you were so grateful and you were so enamored, you know, with that moment. And I can see not only just the maturity, but now also like how you are just willing to love everything. You know, and how you look for love and everything. Like when I pop into your stories, you're so good at articulating. You are so good at articulating an essence or an emotion or anything of that. Because I'll see a picture of a space. Maybe you're in it, maybe you're not. Maybe it's I'm looking cute, I got this half on the mirror, but then there's also this, but like, and it could just be like a fucking random bathroom in Berlin or some shit, you know, or you walked into some bookstore in wherever the fuck you are because you're just all over the place. But you'll just have some little blurb, you know what I mean, like 2 or 3 sentences, and in those 2 or 3 sentences, like I can feel the energy of that room and what it's done to you and how you've embraced it. Also knowing that like tomorrow it's gone. I'm actually not here. I'm flying somewhere else. I actually may never be in this coffee shop or bookstore or lawn or garden again. And then even if you were, you'll be a different person then. And so you'll see differently. And so I think one of the coolest things about you as a human being is your capacity to like look for love. Not like I'm looking for a partner love, but like you're looking for love every day. Like, wow, if we actually all just took that perspective, like how much more satisfied and present would we be as human beings if our goal was to fall in love every day?
Thank you. Yes.
You're a G.
Yes. I mean, game recognizing game, right? It's it also, I mean, it just says a lot about you as well to be able to acknowledge something like that or to see it and to create a space where I can share something like that. Yeah, and love is such a loaded it's a cultural experience too. Like there's different cultures and how they define it, how they limit it, but the human body feels so much. So even outside of like the word love, we can even say like being moved. I just want to be moved. I want to be pulled and extended, like to reminder that I'm here and also outside of here. And like I said, I fall in love with spaces in dancing. and in my practice in choreographing and being a contemporary dancer and dramaturgy, turkey, I can never pronounce that
Also,
word.
former professional dancer who's traveled the world and danced.
Okay. We learn so much about how we occupy spaces. There's so much about like even my like identity of being Mexican American and crossing the border daily growing up, where it's like, how is this space different to that space? And in my artistic life, it's like, how am I inviting people to experience this space with me? And how am I just orienting myself to self to space, self to time, self to others? And that as a queer person, the idea that like during the day, this could be a park where families come, and then at night it turns into a cruising zone, and like the transformation of space, that essence it defines like the social currency. And I don't know, for me in my life, it's like essence is all I have, because it's memory. Memory is also changing and transformative, and essence, how do I capture that essence? Language.
Which you're very good at. You are very good at language and articulating what it is you're experiencing, what it is you're going through. I think that...
I love reading.
I know you do.
I love reading.
And I can tell. I can tell by the way that you articulate yourself. It's so funny how you talk about like, oh man, game recognized game. Like you're able to have the capacity to see you, right? And I read this quote recently that I was like, somewhere in some like Middle Eastern country, they leave all the books out, like all like the bookstores, and like the quote around it was something along the lines of like, they leave all these books out because readers don't steal and thieves don't read. And I was like, oh God, like, you know, like that's so deep, because it's true. Because the more you read, whether it's Harry Potter or whether it's some deep things. Yeah.
In my life.
Okay, a myth debunked. I've also stolen.
That Walmart self-checkout. We have gotten away with a few things. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's the authenticity of life, though, you know. But yeah, I feel like when people read more, just kind of, you're talking about like, how am I able to navigate these different spaces, or put on the hat of a fighter, put on the hat of a writer, or now like hosting a podcast or whatever it is that I'm doing. It's because I've done a lot of reading, and I've done a lot of self-work. Not just reading, but actually putting in some work, or to be inspired by the things that you read, which then changes you, because your essence, your perception of life changes, and then you show up to life differently. So, I mean, I feel like just in the same capacity of, if people had the MO or the intention to fall in love with something every day, whether it be a rose or this bird flying by, or the way, you know, the Japanese, they even have words to describe these things, like komorebi is one of my favorite like Japanese words, because it's the sunlight that filters through the leaves and like dances with the shadows type of thing. Like they have a word to describe that.
Which is so evident. Like we all know when you describe it, we're like, yeah, that,
you know, and I feel like if we looked for love more in everyday, like as humanity, we'd be better. We would also be happier creatures. And then also too, like reading, like the more you read, like the more you know yourself. You know, people struggle with a lot of insecurities and fears and doubts because they don't really know themselves. They just go on with the operating system that was handed to them.
Yeah.
You know, by somebody who actually doesn't even know how to program. You know what I mean? Like they're just regurgitating however they were taught, what they think is right.
Words have the power to change us. It's well, you're a traveler, like you live in a van, you've lived abroad, you're very active about your traveling and your experience in traveling. And for me, reading is an extension of that. Like when I read, I travel, I go, I become other people, I learn other places, I visit other spaces, feelings, and I have other lives. It's like memory. It's like, do you ever have a memory where you're like, I can't tell if this was mine or someone else's, where someone shows you a picture of like a family friend or an old relative or someone that's already deceased, and they tell you who they are in the story, and then you share it, and you're like, I never actually had those memories, but I'm sharing them like if I did. For me, that's what reading does. Reading is an extension of my passion for traveling.
Wow.
Yeah. There's something else you said, like, yeah. Oh, and with the essence, I think the ego. You have to abandon the ego. So acknowledging that other things have an essence.
100%.
It's like I have an essence, but other things have an essence too, and I just have to be open to that.
Yeah.
I have to be open to allow my embodiment to perceive the universe, right? We smell, taste, hear, feel, and sometimes it's like, actually, how do I just like cancel things out and just focus on like the sensation? This is why I love coffee so much. It's smelling, and then it's like the warmth, and it's the taste, and it's the it's such a social thing. So but essence is also like a skill. It's not, some people say it's like that je ne sais quoi, or that like it thing, so there's some truth to that, but I also think there is like a skill behind being able to curate these experiences, which for me is just what my career in choreography was, like curating essences and curating spaces and shaping how we share a space and experience it.
Do you miss it?
Every day.
Every day.
I don't miss craving to prove myself. I don't miss the begging to be funded. I don't miss the insecurity behind it. I miss the discipline. I miss the training. I miss the community. And I miss the passion. I have the passion still. I miss having the venues, an outlet, yeah.
To express it.
Yeah.
Do you dance at all? I mean, you're only there 7 days. Do you ever like pop in and do like I just want to drop in and do this class real quick?
I'm really bad. I've done it once. I'm planning on doing it more. Back to like the shift that I'm feeling out of like this like kind of like slower, maybe down. Excuse me, I have to burp.
Oh,
it is happening.
Yeah,
it is happening into the microphone. I'm sorry.
Real life, guys. This is real life.
I have gas.
Fucking real life.
I have bowel movements. Going out of this like dark zone that I was experiencing, or maybe the heavier parts of loneliness, I am planning on shifting how I use my time, which means we're getting off Grindr, and we're going to prioritize person-to-person experience.
It's so funny that I know you've like been on, off, and like we've had these conversations about like, dating. We won't get into all those conversations.
That's a
OnlyFans podcast. You got to subscribe to that one. So getting off those though, like in person, you're almost at the whim of your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
However, you just had this crossing paths for 10 hours where you're like, wow, for that moment, I fell in love with that person, or they unblock something.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the potential for that exists, right? In person, you guys didn't meet on an app, and like that happened. Are you then looking for that, or are you allowing it to come to you, right? Because by being on an app, you're kind of subconsciously agreeing to like, I'm kind of searching for something. I'm searching for whether it's a connection or just a one-night stand, or whether it's a full relationship. Like, there's a little bit of you that's searching for that, you know? And does this come back to the whole dancing with loneliness thing? Like, how does this all play into that?
God, this is so loaded, because it's my own individual experience, so I can only speak about myself. We have a certain amount of skills, right? To like, of maturity, of knowing what we want, or maybe what we think we want, there's also some shame in how like maybe we talk about being on those apps, like, oh, I'm there to like meet friends, or to meet a lover, but sometimes and I'm only like censoring myself because there are nights where I'm like, I just want to sleep with someone, and it's already very loaded in how we view the social appropriateness of that kind of space. I recognized that I was on there because I was lonely. I stayed on there because I was satisfied and because I trusted myself. And then I lingered because I became lonely again. So it's just a tool, and it's a matter of how you use it. I don't go looking to like fall in love with people. Well, I think when I say I'm trying to fall in love every day, it's I'm trying to experience something every day.
Right.
I'm trying to become aware of my own experience daily. Again, I'm trying to like we're having this conversation, move away from like the word love because it's such a cultural loaded word. I'm trying to be moved.
And I think love, along with the word God, are probably the two most misused words or misinterpreted words. Like there could be so much with that.
Love is an energy.
Love is an energy. I'm with that. I align with that.
So I don't go looking to like fall in love with a guy because I also don't want that every day. Like I don't want to devalue my connection with someone by saying that I'm just gonna go meet someone else. It's not about like. I also never try to replace people. Like it's not a matter of like, oh, like you're insignificant now. It's if it happens, it happens. I'm trying to just admire and be moved by the presence of someone. And so when I talk about soulmates, most of the time it's just like friends who are on this world and I'm on this world and we were just I feel like we're just destined to meet. Or our presences change each other.
Right.
So yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm looking every day for like a person.
Right.
It's not directed to
It's more about being present, like you said, like embracing the moment where you're at. You know.
And with Grindr, it's so funny because I actually just deleted it, and I'm trying really hard to stay off of it. I'm like, running on joke with the gays is like deleting Grindr just to download it 2 days later. And I think that's just a side. It's a symptom of a deeper cause. Whereas like queer people, the value of space is so high because I mean now it's more mainstream, it's more pop culture, but the way that this came about is that there wasn't really safe spaces for us to like practice, like learning how to become.
Right.
And this is so loaded, but like through your pubescent era, like it's not really like practice to experience your queerness. Because you're trying to experience like heteronormative,
right? And maybe you haven't even come out yet. You haven't even know. You haven't even like processed yourself.
Don't even know if that's an option.
Right? Can I even say something? Let alone
option as like I'm not saying as like a choice, but like the fact that that's like, yeah, a possibility. So I believe in things like Grindr because it expands space. It expands the ability to meet people. But we also still, we also still have so much rooted, well, I want to say trauma, but I feel like that's such a loaded thing.
When you say we, you're talking about like the queer community.
Yeah. There's still so much to unlearn. And there's still so much, I think, learning and unlearning and analyzing or our own desire and how much of that is rooted with despair. And as we talk about love and the definitions of love, I think that also is incorporated with grief. And I think pleasure is so, it can be so immediate and it just makes you look forward. And when grief happens, we're unprepared for it. So as I'm experiencing love, as I'm being moved, I'm also experiencing grieving at the same time. Like as
paradox of both, right?
The moment I fell in love with someone, I'm already grieving them because it's already passing. Maybe they're gonna stay in my life forever, but I'm grieving how I know them in that moment. I'm grieving that memory that making right there. I'm grieving how we are in this moment right now, and knowing that we're gonna change and transform, and that not as a negative, not grief as a bad thing, but just grief as like, yeah, this will change.
Yeah. It will never be this way again.
Yeah.
It's so funny. There's this being a Japanese tea house, there's a phrase that I really love. Again, my affinity for Japanese culture, that you'll see a lot in the tea houses, and it says Ichigo Ichie, Ichigo Ichie, which means one time, one meeting, and it's this idea of like, this is all you have, like this moment, and then like the moment is gone. You know, and to embrace exactly what's happening, because even if that person is in your life for the long term, like this moment, this experience, the essence of who you and I are in this moment is that this is it. I mean, I've known you for how long, and as long as we both don't die, I'm gonna know you for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like the conversation that we have now. This is not your first time in the van, you know. And the conversation we had the first time you were in the van, it was like, was Lena here too? Was it?
Yeah, Lena was here.
Yeah, Lena, we need to get you on the podcast too.
Hey.
Honestly, every person who's like come up in the podcast, like, oh, we're talking about this person, like, oh, we're gonna get that person on the podcast too.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing, all these foreshadowings. But yeah, so like it's not going to be the same. And even if I were to, 3 months from now, I'm in the Bay Area, and you happen, hey, John, I'm in Oakland, you know, like whatever, like let's link. Our conversation is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Who you have become in that 3 months is going to be different, and the same for me. So it's like everything is this like temporary moment that we have for a second, and then it's gone. You know, and I feel like, again, kind of just really circling back, because I just really feel, at least personally, like I feel really inspired by your, I don't even know what to call it, your MO, or like this alignment that you have of like looking for these moments in every day, because then it makes you really present. It makes you really present for life. Like, this is it. This is all we have.
A part of it comes from like the inability to see myself aging. Now I'm better at it, but when I was younger, like 30 could not imagine me at 30. Could not imagine me at 25. Like what? And I think part of that is like slipping out of this temporality of like, when I was in a really dark place, it was like not seeing myself living. But now that I'm having this like mindset of like this present moment, this now, this like falling in love with like the essences of things, it expands, and I slip out of like this linear time, and I'm able to, my nervous system, it really just comes down to nervous system. And as I don't know, I feel like a lot of our nervous systems out in the world are whacked out.
Bro,
There's
high
all
over the place.
All over the place, and it's just this practice of falling in love, of being aware of my essence, of coming back to embodiment, is just my conversation with my nervous system. Because the nervous system for me is a time traveler. It remembers things that's happening now and starts predicting. So my body is a time traveler, and I'm able to see myself now at 60, at 75, with various versions of myself too, happening all at once. Yeah, maybe we're all just time travelers.
Possibly. We don't know. We don't actually know what is going on in this world, to be fair. We actually don't know. So in this moment, and if I asked you this tomorrow, the answer could change, but in this moment, you talk about like actually seeing yourself older, right? Because like, it's so funny. You talk about like, oh, I could never see myself at 30 or even 25. Because we have this idea in society that like the peak of being a human is like your early 20s. And it's so funny, especially being at the bar, where people are like, oh my God, I'm so old now. Like, I'm 26. And I'm like,
gosh, when
bitch,
someone says that, I'm like, you're being malicious intentionally. You're trying to piss me off. I'm like, I get it that you're experiencing this for the first time, but that language,
yeah,
you're gonna get something thrown at you.
Yeah. It's always so funny too, just side tangent with the bar, where people are like, will talk to me, and because like I look younger, they'll be like, oh, but like you don't know, like you're still so young. And in my mind, like I already checked your ID. I'm like, bitch, I'm like 8 years older than you. Like I know I'm Asian, so Asian no raisin, but you know. Anyways, to go back, now that you have a different perception of time, whether we're time travelers or not, where do you see yourself at 60 or 70? And that could be a number of things, right? That could be a place, oh, I'm retired here. It could just be an essence. I've done this. This is the type of person I am. You know, like, what do you see?
I see myself practicing being a mentor. It's really important for me to be both in the process of being mentored and being a mentee. I think I said that wrong. Mentorship as like a two-way direction,
sure,
where I'm learning and I'm teaching. I as someone who defines themselves as a queer person, the aspect of temporality is really evident, and so is the aspect of future thinking. I think it's important for me to become an elder, to be available as an elder, to make space for other people to have their experiences, to let the youth. Like, I'm loving aging and saying, like, I've been there, done that. I will do other things. I might go there again. But right now, I'm loving seeing people youthing. The youth be youthing.
The youth be youthing.
And you can tell them all the time about, like, don't do this, do this. And they will learn through their experience. So
Because did not we? Right?
Exactly.
Like how you're talking about, like, I couldn't imagine myself at 25 or 30. So you have someone who's 25 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 tell you something, you're like, yeah, that's your day. But this is how it is now. But as the older you get, you realize, like, no, not much has changed. Maybe we have things like the internet or technology, but, like, the operating system of this human creature, you talk about nervous systems, like, it's the fucking same. We still want to feel connected. We still want to feel loved. We still want to feel supported. We still want to feel seen. We still fear. We still have insecurity. We feel, being excommunicated from the village. Like, all of that's the same. Maybe the surface level looks different and we have the internet and Grindr and, Instagram or whatever it is. But, like, as human beings, we're, like, the same creature still.
And this is something that I'm, like, so grateful. And I'm sure you can relate, that we have physical practices. Through my experience of being a professional dancer, of a choreographer, of yoga, of and you in martial arts, like, we have, like, an embodiment skill set.
Yes.
That I think I can't even imagine, like, not having the practice to be in my body and having to use, like, this technology to connect with people.
Right. That is such a thing.
While you're also still, like you said, the operating system's still the same. Now the tools around us are, like, shifting slightly, so it's like, and I think that's what I see myself at 60 is, like, reminding people that they're in their own bodies.
Okay, at 60, you're reminding people to be in their own bodies. If you're at 60 and we're time travelers, and your 60-year-old self could talk to your current present-day self, what would you tell yourself? What advice would you give yourself? Imagine you're 60.
Advice? Oh my gosh, John.
It doesn't even have to be. Just,
okay.
60-year-old soul talking to what? You're in your early 30s, somewhere around there? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You don't have to specify a number.
Okay.
What advice would you give yourself?
Let me just go into a little
here.
Go ahead.
Like, time travel.
Shabby. Connect with nature more. You can be mentored by more than just people. Listen, you're so excited. I'm so excited. You are so excited. I'm speaking to myself.
Yeah, please.
That you've worked so hard to reach a level of vocabulary that now you don't have to speak in order to be seen. And you don't have to fly high to travel. And do the thing. Fuck it up. Be gay. Be gay. Yeah, be hella gay. Be hella gay.
Be hella gay.
Fuck it up.
Oh, shit.
And, God, honestly, eat well, sleep.
Because you're probably not doing that right now.
Eat well and sleep. Eat well and sleep your 8 hours. And you know what, honestly, that sexual exchanges is an exchange of energy, and it's important to be more mindful about that. I think part of the reason why I was having a low was because I wasn't being mindful about how I was sharing my sexual energy.
Damn. That's some awareness right there.
Especially, again, on Grindr, it's easy. Yeah, that's a whole book that needs to be written.
Us straight people, maybe I'm speaking way too general for the straight population. You gays make it look so easy in terms of, like, y'all are just fucking out there fucking. Pardon the language here, but, like, we're keeping it honest as human beings. Like, yeah, you guys are just like, y'all don't give a fuck.
This is another can of worms. It's beautiful, and it's again, it's a tool. It can be so loaded. Like, I think it's also I love the aspect of being in like sexually positive spaces. It's an embodiment. It's an intimacy. It can be wrapped in trust and learning and connecting, and I love the potential of it. And then also it can be isolating, and it can be because you give so much in that moment, and then how you follow up with yourself needs to be, I think, mindful.
Talking about after the experience.
Yeah, after the experience.
And coming back to yourself.
Yeah, it's I say that you have to be in a mentally prepared and mentally well space to be able to go and do that. Or I recommend to be in a good space to go do it, because it can be so liberating, and you can learn so much. I've had some beautiful moments where I was like, this is me again transcending. This is me falling in love. This is me, like, I'm having this experience because of the culture of the community that I'm in. And it's so heavenly. And then there's other times where I'm like, I should have not gone because I was not in a place. And because I was not in a good place, I went to that space. I went to go seek maybe some form of healing, affirmation, approval. I was insecure, I was down, I went to go feel better, and because I went and I was not mentally prepared, I feel worse now. But yeah.
But I mean, that's part of, like you were saying earlier, like even in this podcast, of like making the mistakes. Like even if you were to have some mentor tell you, like, don't do that, don't try to band-aid your loneliness by just going to have some sexual encounter. Yet part of it is actually having to do that. And to actually have to feel empty afterwards and be like, okay, I was not in a good space to do that. And we probably shouldn't do that again, you know?
Or just, we should do it in a different time.
Right.
Different time.
Yeah.
Meditate before and after. Light a candle. Like, do something.
Let's do some Palo Santo in here. Okay, we good
plans,
now. We good
like,
now.
do well.
We good now. But
part of the falling in love, there's been moments where I was like in a dark room and just hands and mouths, and I was like, this is a part of the essence. Like the way that like the sunset can like fall and the rose can bloom, like I also feel that in those moments. I'm so intrigued by my own darkness. And it's part of the grief with the love. Like it's all like I'm so intrigued by my own light and my own darkness, and I'm so intrigued. I cried. I think the one time that a drag queen made me cry, not one time, the first time a drag queen made me cry, they were like their specialty was in like goth art, and they were spooky, and they were on Dragula, which is like a more dark like it's a specific aesthetic, and I was moved by them. Like I love the horror genre. I think there's something about that whole world of like our potential to be dark beings that is misunderstood. But that's a whole other channel. That's a whole other direction.
Yeah.
Dark rooms and.
But who knows? That could be the next time you're on the podcast and fucking open up that whole can of worms. Yeah. Maybe. That could be a whole other podcast just in general. Maybe a different channel. I'm just gonna check.
Different audience.
I'm just gonna check battery life. Oh shit! This died. No.
Did they both die?
Oh, hell no. Okay, we are going to take a pause real quick because I just looked at the camera. I was trying to check for time, and this camera that has been recording you is fucking off.
How are you going to tell?
See, that red light is still redding.
Okay, the red light is still redding.
But this one wasn't, so we're going to take a pause real quick.
You got 2 out of 3.
That's 2 out of 3.
That's a good slice
I know, but
of
this
pie.
was the more important one because it was facing you. Okay.
This one's facing you, seeing me.
Always trying to alchemize the situation. But yeah, this is life. This is how it be. This life be lifing, you know.
Life be lifing.
Life be lifing. So we're gonna take a quick pause and see what's going on with these cameras. But I hope you guys have been enjoying so far. More from us shortly. Okay, we are back. I think that maybe this camera over here to my right cut out for the last like 5 or 10 minutes. But that's okay. That's what we gonna do. Wait, you're not even in that shit. Look at that. Boom. We fixed that. We're back. Round 2. Not round 2 of drinks, but just round 2, unless you want a round 2 of something.
No, I'm good actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Both.
Cool. Yeah. So we're chilling. We're here. Let's jump back into it before I have to drop you off at Liberty Station.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So a question that I have for you, I guess maybe this is even a more personal question, is this idea of dancing with loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back to like thinking about, you were talking about like Grindr or whatnot. There was a point this year. I haven't ever been on a dating app, and this is not meant to say like this or that, or this whole thing that comes with dating apps, or how people.
It's not a judgment.
It's not meant to be like that. Like, oh, I have never been on. It's not about that. But obviously, from the first podcast, you guys know that like I'm divorced. And when I came here to heal, I'm not focused on any relationship at all. Like, I'm not trying to be in a relationship. I know what it's like to be in a fully committed relationship. Like, I just wasn't there. In the past, maybe not full year, maybe just kind of just this year, few months, I've also been dancing with this idea of loneliness. Because people ask me all the time, like, do you get lonely living in the van? And I feel like because I put myself in all these different places and spaces, maybe I'm doing Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu, or I'm at the bar and I have friends in this network, and San Diego is such a place where it's like you're connecting with people. So I don't really feel like lonely living in a van. There are times where I have felt lonely, like, man, we're just kind of by ourselves in this space and it'd be nice to have the company of somebody else. And so for a while, I was toying with the idea of jumping on these dating apps, Hinge or Tinder or whatever is I don't even know what's like the thing right now.
I work in a different neighborhood.
Yeah, different neighborhood. Like, I don't know any of those things. I don't go to those bars. And I was playing with the idea of jumping on these dating apps, and I like downloaded a couple, but like never even created a profile. Because I felt like at the end of it, it was like, I think you're just doing this, John, because you're lonely. Because when I came down to it, it was like, do you actually want a relationship right now? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I actually don't think I want a relationship right now. Especially right now. I'm about to freaking have shoulder surgery and I'm just going to be like off the grid for a minute. But even before I had the injury and before I was in that space, it was like, is that actually something that you want? Or are you just in this dance with loneliness that you kind of want to just have something? I mean, obviously I work at the bar and there's like a bunch of pretty girls that walk to the bar. But then I'd also have this thing about like, then you're going to come back into the bar and be like, I hooked up with that bartender.
Like, I know him. I know him well.
Yeah, right. I know him like, oh, God.
Seen.
So it's this dance with, I guess, like personal loneliness. And you talked about dancing with loneliness. Like, what does that dance look like to you?
With loneliness, it's an art form. I treat it as an art form. I treat it as a different state of being. I think being alone and being lonely are two different things. Solitude is very different. It's not a destination. It's like an ongoing thing. It's how I relate to my own state of being. Because I think I'm always in this state of being lonely. Because I'm just so aware of the isolation of my own experience. I think our bodies as human beings, we stimulation is good for us. We crave stimulation. We crave community. That's how we survived, like, as Homo sapiens. Like, it was the fact that we were able to be with other people,
right?
That we weren't like individualistic. The idea of fiction is something that brings us together, but my mind, like, we have thoughts and no one else hears your mind. Like, our own cognitive perception of ourselves is such an isolating experience, and then we use our bodies to try to connect with other people, to be like, you're also having this experience. So lonely for me is a human experience. It's a constant state of measuring everything else. One of my really good friends, really diverse friend, who's been like mentor, coworker, boss, student, sister, best friend, roommate, like all these things. She she said the loneliest part of here is now. Loneliness is also the part of like the future thinking and remembering past and our ability to perceive time. So I'm constantly trying to remind myself that my experience of being lonely is not negative. It's not. It's diverse. It has its own benefits, its own rewards, its own celebrations, and its own conflicts and resolutions. I can be lonely and go for a walk and be in solitude that is rejuvenating, and I can be lonely that's really heavy and destructive, and it's about trying to be in that healthier state for myself. I'm, as a traveler, constantly curious and enamored by the feeling of being lonely. Because that doesn't mean that I'm alone. When I say I'm lonely, it's not devaluing my friendships. It's not devaluing my family. It's not saying that I don't have people.
100%.
It's saying that right now I'm experiencing this and I'm experiencing loneliness in this moment. And what does that call for? Sometimes I have a good meal and I'm like, damn, that's just what I needed. I was just hungry.
Yeah. I also really like how, kind of just like go back to the I'm hungry part. Like, I like how you worded that. Like, I am not lonely. I am experiencing loneliness.
Yeah.
And I feel like as human beings, we attach ourselves to an emotion, whether it's depression or happiness or love or loneliness or whatever it is, and we say we are that. When it is an emotion or an experience that we are experiencing, but to almost come back to our essence, you know what I mean? And to remember that we are the essence, like swimming into these different things to kind of come full circle to what you were saying earlier. But I really like that. I really like that perspective.
Yeah, because nothing's temporary. Like, and sometimes I also
I mean, everything's temporary.
Yes. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Grammatics.
I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. They knew what you meant.
They knew what I meant. Sometimes I try to resolve something without being in it, and I'm like, that's not what I wanted. Hence these like dating apps where I'm feeling lonely, and then I go do something on them, and I'm like, actually, I feel more lonely now because I didn't connect.
Right.
Or that's not what I needed right now. That's not what I wanted. And when you mix being horny and lonely together, those are dangerous, dangerous combinations.
You heard it here first, guys. Don't mix loneliness and horniness together.
Just be horny, and then go follow that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that took a quick turn to the left.
It's also about priorities. I think I have to sacrifice certain things to live my lifestyle, to travel, to open myself to certain potentials of pleasure, to be in different spaces. And I mean lifestyle in terms of like queer person, as someone who travels for a living. I have to sacrifice, and it's all about balance, and I have to be okay with it. Part of being lonely is being okay with what you're not experiencing. Life happens when you're not there, and that's a hard lesson to learn.
Ain't that the damn truth? Life is always happening.
Yeah.
And we're not always going to be there for it.
And that's for me. That's loneliness. It's experiencing life while also acknowledging that you're missing out on it.
It's both.
It's both.
It always comes back to both, right? This and that. You talk about like the light and the darkness. Like it's this and it's that. Yeah, so I really appreciate that perspective on loneliness. So, we're kind of getting to the tail end here because I know we are a little bit pressed for time. But in the 7 months that you've been this flyboy, what is the greatest thing you've learned about yourself?
That I'm exactly who I thought I was.
Ooh, and who the fuck is you?
It's no, like I've always known I was this traveler. I've always known that I loved it, but you can't like say you're that person until you do it. And then in my years I've done it, but I've always gone for a little bit, and I always had a ticket back home. And now there's no ticket to anywhere. There's just going. And the stories I tell about myself, the stories of me wanting to travel daily and me wanting to be lonely, like that is really who I am. Like I am designed to be moving
And to be moved.
and to be moved. And that I can still be loyal, I can still maintain relationships, I can still be in community.
What do you do to feel... Okay, first, actually, before I even go to that question. Yes, all of that, because in all the time that I've known you, this is you. And I'm so glad that's what you took away from it, because like when you, even when you first told me this job, I'm like, yes, bitch, take that job. You're like, I don't know if I should do this or if I should do that. I'm like...
Yeah, you were like,
right?
go,
because,
go.
Because you were mulling over this thing of like, this experience as this flight attendant, and it was like in conflict with, you had this like, I don't know if it was like some type of like sponsorship. You had the studio, like you had this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it was whatever it was very dance related. Something that you already were, something that you've already done, and it was like, girl, this is what's actually gonna freaking evolve you and be who you really are. Because how many conversations have we talked about travel or this and that, or when I went to Spain, you're like, this, and that. So it is nice to see you being exactly who you are and knowing that like, what did I learn is like, yep, I am that bad bitch that I thought I was.
She's there. She's real.
There. Oh, that's fucking wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah. No, I remember that too, and I'm really thankful too, because you also didn't have the advice. You also had the lived experience of your own advice.
Right.
So, you were right. We can always return back to it, and we return differently, and we realize what we loved about it. So that I'm able to return to it in a more authentic way. I was in conflict. I also think there's something about, like, at the time I really still needed to prove myself as, like, a dancer. You put so much time to something that you're like, this needs to show for something.
God, I fucking know that feeling.
You're like, all my chickens went to that basket. I put so many hours, like, the bread has to rise. And this opportunity and being told by friends like yourself to just do it made me realize, like, oh, actually I loved that, because that gave me a hint of what I have now, because I took this. And the reality is that, yes, I was passionate about dance. I am passionate about community. I love community. That's so important to me. But I'm a traveler, and I'm able to be my best self. I'm able to be a better artist. I'm able to be a better community member because I'm experiencing this sense of traveling.
Ugh. Now I just want to travel. I just want to go.
Let's do part 2 in Portugal, part 2 in Brazil, part 2 in...
I mean, then you are having me some fucking buddy pass, and I'll meet your ass out there. You want to have all these extravagant fucking podcasts in Portugal and Brazil. Bitch, you better fly me there.
We'll talk about it. Future sponsor.
Future sponsor. Man, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for taking the time. I know you were only here in San Diego for 24 hours, so I was like, yo, we need to make this happen.
Stoked. Yeah. No, the moment you said it, I was like, yes. We've talked about this for so long now.
We
How
have.
we, like, visualize ourselves in this format, in this art form.
Yeah.
And it's happening.
That's great. I love this. I hope to have more conversations with people like you, and also with you. Yeah. So on that note, I just want to say thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you. And we're proud of you.
And you. And you.
And all of you out there. It's really hard to sum up this conversation because I feel like there was so much. The loneliness, the owning yourself, the being present, the falling in love at the moment. I know that was the biggest takeaway for me. You probably have a different takeaway. Maybe there's some queer people out there who are listening who was inspired by a soul story, or someone who wants to travel, or
Maybe you're like, this guy's crazy. I disagree with everything.
Or this guy's hella fine. What's his fucking at?
It'll be in the comments. It'll be in the comments. I'm very single, coming to a city near you.
But on some real shit, at least for me personally, I think the biggest takeaway for me is the reminder to constantly look for something to be in love with or enamored with in life, because life is really temporary and we actually don't know how much time that we have. I think I said it on another podcast. It was like, time is the only resource that we spend where we don't know the balance. And that's not me. That's not me. Most of the things are not me. Like how I was asking you earlier about, I don't know, you were saying something. You were like, oh, something about the bartenders. I am the fucking sum of all of my mentors, or some really beautiful answer. But that's it. We are the sum of the things that we consume, be it books, be it literature, be it conversations. And so I hope that you guys were able to take away something from this conversation, as I did. And we'll see you on the next one.
Ciao.
All right, we just finished podcasting. You see those GoPros up there? Yep, we are parked up here at Balboa Park in beautiful, sunny San Diego. This is where we at. Just, two people podcasting in a van, no big deal. San Diego, we love you. The beautiful soul. Oh yeah. Woo! Oh, don't pull a hammy. You need to stretch first.